Welcome, race fans, to the first race in the NAVSCAR Pro season. We're racing tonight at Daytona, 250 miles, 100 laps around this super speedway. We got a great turnout tonight. Looking forward to getting the season underway. Joining me in the booth today, my fellow broadcaster, Jamie Christensen. How's it going, buddy?
Not too bad, Mike. Glad to be here. Like you said, it's going to be a great season. Looking forward to it, and Daytona is a race that all the drivers are looking forward to, and they've been waiting to get the season underway. So let's get it started.
Yeah, crazy turnout tonight. We got 39 drivers in the server tonight. Best turnout so far for us at NAVSCAR, and I'm looking forward to some great racing, man. It's going to be interesting. We got some different stuff than we're used to here at Daytona. We got a lot of cars on the track, and we got a setup that we're not quite comfortable with. We changed the weather in the series to make things a little bit more strategic. Guys have to be a little bit more careful, so I'm excited to see how these guys do.
Yeah, I think you keyed in on something there. You know, we got that temperature more realistic, and we're going to see some tire wear tonight, and we're going to see these guys when they come up to speed. They're 200 miles an hour plus, and going into those corners, they're going to use up those tires a little bit more than what we've seen in the past, running cooler temperatures. And I think people are going to have to really watch their stuff as well as the guys around them.
Cars are on track right now, pulling in. They got 2 laps, single car qualifying this week. Normally we do an open qualifying session, but with the super speedways and NASCAR making their rule changes, we have followed suit. We're going to do 2 laps, single car. These guys are going to put up their times, and then we're gonna get right to it.
Well, with all these drivers out on the track, we've been talking about the drivers, but we've got a lot of teams out there this year. That's something you don't really see. I don't think I see a whole lot out in the iRacing community. You see it a little bit more in the sanctioned iRacing leagues, but here we've got several teams joined up, and one of the newcomers is that DPM team. What do you think about them?
Yeah, Dustin Phillips Motorsports, man, newcomers for sure. Part league owner decided he wanted to get out on the track, and he wanted to own some cars. I think team ownership is definitely something that people strive for, and it's a little bit different, a little bit cheaper in iRacing than it is in the real world, but it's still a lot of fun to be able to help out a team and get guys driving that are like-minded and having some partners on the track.
Yeah, and we interviewed quite a few of the drivers before the race. We sent out a questionnaire, and we sat down with some of them, and a lot of these guys have been sharing setups, been getting out there running in tandem as a team. Because it's one thing to just say you're on a team, but I think we're actually going to see the dynamics of it tonight. I think you're going to see the team start joining up, just like they've said all along, whether it's a real race or this NAVSCAR Pro Series race. You don't have any friends out there, and then come to the end of the race, even your teammates aren't your friends. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch it play out. And
it doesn't really play out anywhere like it does here at Daytona. This is one race where you can't afford not have a dancing partner. You got to have someone to go with. You got to have someone behind you, and it helps when you practice with that person and that person's going to go with you instead of the guy on your outside. So could have a lot to do with the outcome of tonight's race.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see some of these guys hang in the back. You're either wanting to be in the back or you want to be in the front. I personally would not want to be in the middle. There's a lot of chaos going on in there. There's a lot of things to monitor, not only in your car but in the cars around you. So it's interesting because sometimes these guys that they want to play it safe. They want to let the big one happen in front of them by sitting in the back. We've seen it happen in real life and in our Pro Series that just because you're in the back doesn't mean you're exempt from being in the big one.
So a little bit different strategy going on right now on the track. One of the rules here at NAVSCAR is you have to attempt a qualifying lap. You can't just not put up a qualifying time to start from the back. But there's no rule on how long that qualifying time needs to be. And right now you can see I'm cycling through drivers who are sitting on the start-finish line waiting to cross to put up that time. A lot of guys don't want to start mid-pack. They want to start right at the end. So we see some different strategy going on here.
Yeah, and that's kind of like we were just talking about. I mean, you know, good for them. They're going to get their spot in the back, assuming that some of these drivers don't get a worse time, if you will. It's kind of counterintuitive of qualifying, but hey, you know, it's one of those things that we'll see how it works out for them.
Looks like we are gridding. It looks like a couple of drivers might not have put up times. So we might have to deal with that after the race. We might be having a talk-in. We might have some penalty situations. The NAVSCAR admins will make a ruling after the race. But we are gridding up, so it should be a good race. We'll see how these guys can pull off that first lap.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation in the hauler. I think there may be some leniency, considering it is the first race. But that is definitely a rule within the Pro Series here. You've got to qualify. Not really sure why some of these guys didn't get out. Maybe they didn't feel that they had a dancing partner. But like you said, they're gridding up, so let's get to it.
Once these guys get rolling, we'll go ahead and go over the starting grid. But let's take a look right this second here. Can hear the engines fired up. Once the cars grid up, the pace car will get rolling here, and we'll be turning one lap, only one single lap here before we take the green flag. So let's go ahead and go through the grid. First row looks like qualifying time of 46.943, man, just 1/1000th of a second faster than second place. We got Jack Walls on the pole, Trent Potter in second place. Row number 2, we've got Daniel. Oh, you guys are going to have to forgive me. We've got some new names here. Daniel Vaglin. And on the outside, we've got Jeff Sharp. Row number 3, we got Chris Sharp. I wonder if those guys are related. And on the outside, we got the 11 of William Long. Row number 4, we've got Bruce Potter. And on the outside, Scott Kidd. Row number 5, Ricky Goodman. And racing veteran, NAVSCAR veteran, Jason Garrett's been around a long time with us. Jeff Files on the inside there, another original NAVSCAR member, and Mitchell Mumma on the outside there. Corey Wharton in the 999, good to see him back, and James Haney in the 955 as well, joining us again this season. Row number 8, Jason Wells and DJ Anderson. Row number 9, Randy McCarney and Kevin Cochran, good to see him on the track again this season. 901 of Tommy Emsey and 82 of Mike Abbott. Again, another veteran member. Good to see him joining us this season. Keith Haney's back for another round, as well as the 555 of Butch Fraser. We've got Nick Payne and Brent Rogers. Row 13, Dale Albright, Jordan Beck. Row 14, the 7 of Nelson Revere and 917 of David Howard. John Fershing with a 3-minute lap time there, starting row 15. Timothy Lewis, 3 minutes, 21 seconds. Kevin O'Brien, 3:39, 72 of Raymond Edge on the outside. James Skelton and Sean Butler. Joshua Buckley, Nate LaFleur, Jeremy Patterson won't be starting this race, and it looks like Dustin Phillips didn't put up a time either. Mark Bratcher should be there. Brian Wynn should be on the track as well, and Daniel Haney, row 21. So these guys are going to be coming to the green here.
That's quite the field there, Mike. That's a lot of cars.
Yeah, it's a big field this week for sure. Pace car is off for the first race of the 2016 Pro Series. Let's go, boys.
Absolutely. Looks like they're taking it real easy right here on the start. We don't see anybody really pushing, but everybody's coming up the street going into turn 1. Not going to win it on the first lap, so what we expect to see.
Yeah, I think we're going to see these guys just kind of settle in, maybe get in line, figure out their car, but I'm sure it'll get dicey as we go here. We got 40 cars on the track. Let's see if we can get 40 to cross that start-finish line for the first lap.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because seeing some guys kind of hang back. You know, I was wondering how aggressive they'd be out of the front. We got a definitely a main pack in the front. We got a little pack in the middle, and we definitely got some guys at the tail end of the field here. So, man, that field looks great with that many cars out there.
Yeah, you know, I think these guys realize that we're going to see some cautions at some point, so as long as you're staying on the lead lap with a bunch of cars around you, I think you're in good shape. You just want to keep your car in good shape because we only got one quick repair this season, so these guys, they don't want to be putting, dents in those fenders early in the race.
Yeah, and at a track like Daytona, you know, aerodynamics is everything. They're going to want to keep that car clean as long as they can. As we do see some guys
first caution
on the high side. Yeah. Can't say I really saw what brought that out.
I'll have to see if we can take a look.
You know, it's kind of interesting too while you're looking for that, Mike. You know, we got I mentioned we got those teams out there. Team Wow is really the team to beat right now. I know that's up to debate depending on who you speak to, but they do have the defending Pro Series champion on their team, so a lot of guys gunning for him this year.
Do we actually have a caution? These guys look full speed to me.
I'm showing that it's still green, but I think we got some technical difficulties saying that we do have a yellow. I did see somebody get out on the high line and actually make contact with the wall. That's right when it came out. So again, not sure if that's what started it, but yeah, we're still under green. So, and the cars are definitely at speed. So.
Awesome. Let me reset my overlays here. You know, we got a new set of overlays this season. Still working out the bugs.
Yeah, and that's all right. You know, we'll get it ironed out here as we get going. And I don't know if you're seeing this, Mike, but you know, like I said, I can't overemphasize it. But you know, we got this main pack up front. We got some guys that are almost literally in turn 2, as these guys are in turn 3. That's how far the field is spread out.
You know, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, especially if those guys know who they're racing with in the back. I think cars can hook up with each other if they want, get in line, and usually rein in the group ahead. So, again, you're right. We've got about 3 cars just exiting turn 2. Actually, a huge pack just exiting turn 2. So there is quite a bit of a difference between these guys. But where would you rather be, front or back at this point of the race?
I would rather be in the front, but I'm looking at the 4 of Ricky Goodman, and he's just made contact with the wall coming out of 4. He's got he's running a little bit slower there, running that high line. I think he's going to let those guys go by him on the low line. But I know Ricky was having a little issue in practice where he was not happy with how the car was handling when he was in traffic. So looks like it's already come to become a factor already. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
great paint schemes out here tonight too.
We do have some new paint schemes that I like seeing. Hopefully these guys have some fun with it. We got another car in the wall there.
Yeah, you know, I think it's just again, these guys are, you know, knocking the rust off a little bit, but there's something to be said about driving around the track by yourself and driving around the track at 200 miles an hour with, you know, 20 other cars literally within, you know, 100 feet both ways of you.
Yeah, for sure. It could definitely be nerve-wracking, especially when you got bundles of cars, but these guys are doing a pretty good job keeping things all together.
Yeah, I would agree. And, you know, I think right now they've settled in. I mean, we've got a lot of good racing going on out there. We don't see anybody really pushing any issues. But you know, with that being said, now these guys up in front, they're going to have to be thinking pit stops. When you got this many cars coming in for a pit stop under green, if it does go green, you know, that's going to be interesting. And then do you take 4? Do you take 2? Do you take none? We've known guys to not take any tires out here. It's going to be interesting.
I'll tell you though, my old strategy was absolutely no tires. I could race the whole race, no tires. But with the way these guys are complaining about the cars being tight, and you know what I noticed riding in car? Guys are off the throttle going into the turn. And, man, I can't remember the last time I was at a Daytona or Talladega and I got off the throttle.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I've done it myself. You get into that corner or leading right into that corner, you just let up a little bit, let that right front tire rip and catch, and then back into the gas. If like you said, if you go in there and you don't let up off the gas, you push up, and you see it going into the corner and you see it going out. And that's where the concern is tonight with some of these guys, because when they're coming out of specifically turn 2, you're going to see guys that are running the low line all of a sudden push up into the lane above them, which could cause an incident later on. We'll have to see how it turns out.
I also noticed these guys are still, relatively too wide for the first 10, 15 spots. Typically at a Daytona race, you see the guys kind of set in line and get comfortable because they know they're in for a long race. But, I think that high line is becoming a little bit more comfortable than that low line. You don't really necessarily want to be on the inside and get a tight car because you think you're going to kind of slide up into somebody. You don't want to be the one that ruins someone else's race.
Oh, no, you definitely don't want to be that car because it's probably not going to be just you in that car. It's going to be you, that car, and about 20 others. It's interesting too, Mike, going through some of these questions, we're talking to Brian Wynn, about who he thought was his biggest competitor all around the track. And, he said it was himself. And it's kind of interesting because in our interviews, a lot of the drivers were saying they don't really consider the other drivers, their main competitor, their nemesis. They're trying to pretty much, hone their craft, and they get aggressive towards the end. So, what are your thoughts about that? Just, not necessarily calling anybody out, and some of them may be taking a little bit more of a passive route. But what do you think about that?
Well, I understand, racing yourself. I definitely encourage these guys to kind of, maybe not at Daytona, but, on those other tracks that we go to, it could be difficult just getting around some of these tracks in the setups that we run. So you can be your own worst enemy, man. If you get yourself off of a rhythm, you can ruin your own race. So I get it, man. I can be my own worst enemy at times, but I think we all have a couple drivers that we want to be clear of or hook up with on the track, and I'm sure these guys are just being nice with picking their rivals.
Yeah, I hear you. And while you were talking there, we took a look at. I was taking a look at Nate LaFleur. He got into the wall again in 3 and 4, and see him kind of pay the price there as he's drifting back a little bit. Don't see a whole lot of damage on the outside of the car as he gets back into line, but. Again, these guys that are trying that upper line are finding it a little bit more difficult than what they thought.
Yeah, I think we're lap 12, and from talking to these guys earlier in the week during practice, lap 12 is really where we kind of start seeing fall off on those tires. So I think you guys you're gonna start seeing drivers arc in the corner a little bit more than we would normally see at Daytona. Trying to keep those tires together. It'll be interesting when these guys come in to see what they do. 2 tires, 4 tires. But you definitely, looking at the back, you can see some arcing lines going. The 7 car of Nelson Rivera just took that entry real wide and dropped down, and you can see them all drift back up to the wall. So that's not something we normally see at Daytona.
Yeah, I hear you. I was, again, I keep referring back to these interviews that we had. I spoke with Josh Buckley. And, I asked him, who does he model his, or what kind of driving style does he have? And I don't think it's any secret. He's said that he's got an aggressive style. His favorite NASCAR drivers, Brad Keselowski. You kind of see some of the same traits there at times. And when asked, who is his biggest nemesis on the track? And, his response is, it's kind of anyone. It's everyone that's out on the track at some point, right? Depending on where you're at and what part of the race you're at. So I think that was probably about the most brutal answer you can get from a driver.
And actually, it brings up a good point where, we've got a lot of variety of drivers on the track in NAVSCAR, and some guys are great at certain tracks, and some guys are better opposite types. So, yeah, you never know from week to week who you're going to be battling with, and we've got Chris Sharp, Jack Wells, Dan Vallon, Scott Kidd. We got 3 rookies in the top 5 right now, and I like seeing that from these guys.
Yeah, so you mentioned rookie. So if you're a rookie out in this field, what's going through your mind right now? I mean, not only are you in a new league, new pro series, you're you're racing with about 40 other guys out there.
Well, hey, if I'm a rookie, man, I want to show these guys I know what I'm doing. So these guys are going to want to perform early on and let them know that, hey, I'm someone to be reckoned with. You're going to watch out for me next week. So it's good to see. We've got a bunch of 9 cars up front, but they're all spread out through the pack. So we actually have a pretty big gap between that first pack and that second pack. About 11 seconds behind that lead group now. So that backpack doesn't want to let these guys pull away too much more. We're going to start seeing some green flag stops probably in about 15 laps. I think we're about halfway through a fuel run at this point, as we got cars way below, down low. Looks like maybe a car got loose and had to get down on that shoulder, but looks like everyone recovered, no caution. Car in the wall up at the front. We got the yellow car. Not sure what the car number was on there.
Well, how about that? How about giving a shout out to the 925 here of Dan Vigeland? A new member with us. He's running that main sponsor of the Caldwell Banker River Valley Realtors. He's just recently married here in September of 2015. So, not only has he got that going on, got the new marriage going on, he's joined the Pro Series and rocking 4th right now, or 3rd.
Yeah, it's good to see these guys up front. They're actually passing that lead position back and forth right now. Dan, was leading there. He's dropped down to 2nd in that 925 car. As that inside groove is going to look to freight train him a little there. You might see him drop behind. He does. We haven't really talked about we talked about tire temps and how they can fall off, but we haven't talked about engine temps, and we don't see a lot of bump drafting that we've seen in the past here.
No, you really don't see it. I mean, these cars just don't suck up like the ones that we've seen in the past. They seem to be a little bit more leggy, if you will. And so I just don't think you're going to see that unless you've got 3 or 4 car cannon there and they start pushing each other. So
I'd be willing to bet we see some pushing as we get to into the 70, 80 lap mark.
Yeah, I would agree. It's too early for all that. I think these guys want to get a pit stop underneath their belt. They got had a real good clean race right up to this point. I think they want to see it play through a little bit. We got plenty of laps here too, but to continue on a little bit around Dan Vigeland. We're talking about we've talked about this before in past broadcasts, but we asked him, what kind of equipment are you running? And he's running the G27 wheel with Fanatic pedals. This guy's not messing around. You got to hit. Oh, as we see the 4 Ricky Goodman get off the track there completely.
Tell you, with all these drivers on the track, it's a lot harder for me to find them in my overlays. But did he recover?
Yeah, he's sitting on the backstretch right now. He has doesn't look like he's towing or anything. He's got.
Yeah, he was earlier in the race. He was having some monitor issues. His video card was crapping out on him. So as we got a car in the wall, it looks like these guys checking up, but. That's amazing that these guys were able to keep that all together. A little bit of contact there, but no spinning. That's impressive. Good job. As you can see, these cars are just really tightening up. These guys they're really off the throttle, trying to keep it low on the ground or on the track, and they're just not able to do it without checking up. And then the car behind you runs into you and almost spins you around. But these guys are able to keep it together really well there.
Yeah, and they're coming close to pit stops here. We're on coming to lap 20, and so the tire wear is going to go away, and it's not like what you see in other leagues out there where they're running those cooler temperatures where you got the tire fall off that you see is only like 1%. These guys are burning those tires down at these speeds, especially with the heat on the track. So, and we even heard during practice, guys were seeing in the corners, rubber coming off the cars and flying into their windshield. So we know it's going to get a little a little hairy out there.
Yeah, just riding on board right now with Bruce Potter, you can see and hear how much he's off the throttle in these turns. These cars, they are definitely different than they were a year ago. And, we're going to see another change in a couple months that are going to probably even make it a little bit different. But you can definitely see the rubber buildup on the front of his windshield here. Even the track is starting to rubber in on that low line. The race, as we go on, is going to continue to evolve. But right now, these guys are begging for tires. I guarantee you that.
Absolutely, and they're probably working with their teammates, or they're calling out for the guys that are around them because it might not be their teammate, letting them know that they're thinking about pitting here soon. And are you going to go with me? You're not. You're going to stay out. There's a lot going on within those cars and with the spotters, and trying to get this all coordinated.
It'll be interesting to see who takes that first shot on pit road, and does the whole pack come in with them. It'll definitely be interesting who goes with what. 23, turning 23 laps, these guys are going to think about pitting here real soon. We got a slow car on the apron there being put a lap down.
You know what I'm happy to see, though, Mike? I'm happy to see that 82 of Mike Abbott with high rev that team out there out front. Mike is kind of had a rough season last year, and I think he's looking for that rebound right now.
But what's interesting about that is, if Mike's good at one thing, I would say tire management is definitely one of those things. As you can see him move up in front of that line, kind of manage the draft there as he jumps back down, crossing the start-finish line. But he's definitely good at tire management, so that might have something to do with him being up front right now.
Did you know that he's the only driver that I've ever seen a replay from where he's actually blown a tire?
Yeah, guys were talking about blowing tires earlier in the week during practice. I think a couple of them have done it during practice here at Daytona. So
it's kind of a rare occurrence. You don't see it a whole lot in this game. But, with the conditions that we're under here right now, you've got to monitor those tires. You got to monitor your equipment. So definitely a factor.
And we got our first set of cars peeling off. Looks like we got two takers. Most of the pack is going to go around for another round here. Let's see if anybody else follows these three cars onto pit road. No, right now just the three cars. Looks like. '87 of Trent Potter. It looks like 24 of Chris Sharp. 59 of Bruce Potter, all sitting in their box getting tires. Let's see what they go with. We got the right sides and left sides going up. These guys want 4 tires, and we spoke to that earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little I'm a little perturbed. Maybe that's not the right word for it. I'm just curious as to why pit now. Are the tires that really that bad, or are they just trying to get on a different pit sequence than everything else?
Well, here's the thing. We're at lap 26. Okay, so we're a quarter of the way through the race. We're in a 3-stop race if you pit on 25. Unless you can go to lap 33, everyone's going to be pitting 3 times. So why not come in now, get some fresh tires, see if you can put in some some speed versus everybody else. Mind you, if you get a caution, especially now that they're being put a lap down, then it's a different story.
And just honestly, that pack is not big enough.
No, you're right. It's only a couple, as we got more cars coming in here.
Yeah, and we have got more cars getting loose off some of these corners as these guys are just extending the amount of life out of those tires the most that they can. So.
Looks like we got a car in the grass there. That'll probably be a black flag, unsafe entry. So we got the 925, Dan's in. We got Scott Kidd, James Haney, Jason Wells, Kevin O'Brien, all getting pit stops done here.
Well, we should take a look at the 998 of Mitch Mama, I believe is the way you say his name. He's when we interviewed him, he said his favorite driver is Casey Kane. Casey, it's kind of interesting. Casey doesn't necessarily do that great at super speedways, but obviously a great driver to be a fan of. This big Dodge Mopar guy. No Dodges in this field, so kind of interesting there.
Yeah, he's letting that outside pack go around him here. Gonna jump back up in line there. Still the leaders, Jason Garrett, Mike Abbott, still running. A little bit of... If they... Oh, we got a car in the wall. Oh, bouncing off Mike there, but everyone keeps it together again.
You know, and you hate to be that guy. And what I mean by that is you don't want to use your quick repair this early in the race. You know, you haven't even pitted yet, and you're finding the wall. And that just means you're either going to try to get it repaired under green, which is going to cost you big time, or use a quick repair, or not fix the damage and get back out there and hope a caution comes out.
So we still got right now 20 cars on the lead lap. 20 cars left to pit here. It'll be, these guys got to be, you know, thinking about coming in soon here. Lap 29. I said lap 33 would be a lap or a number to go to. It would actually limit a stop, and these guys are turning lap 30 here right now. So it's definitely getting interesting. I'm surprised that there is that huge difference between the first set of takers and these final takers here.
Yeah, and you know, Abbott and crew seem to be really just, you know, taking every bit of gas that they've got and applying it. So, you know, Mike's got. Oh, we got a caution.
Oh, we got our first wreck, and Mike, leader there. Looks like that outside car. We'll have to take a look and see what happened. Just taking a look. Mike's on the outside. Mike just maybe pushed those tires a little bit too much and bounces it off the wall, slows it down, and collects a couple unfortunate souls there. 39 gets collected as well. So, yeah, tire wear is definitely something to be thinking about. And looks like he just carried too much speed on exit, and he's towing back now for a quick repair.
Yeah, that one's gonna hurt because he's gonna have to be towed.
So that brings our first caution of the race, lap 31. You know what? With the amount of drivers we had on track, I'm surprised that we made it that far. I love seeing the racing that we saw, and I'm happy with those results so far. As we're talking about how many cars we do have on the track, we have a promotion going on presented by WOW Racing. The Drive for 30. Have you heard about this promotion?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty excited about Team WOW bringing this up for these guys.
Sorry, Drive for 35, and that's awesome. So what it basically is every race this season where we have more than 35 drivers, we're going to give away $5 in iRacing credit to a random participant, and we're going to do that right now. Let's bring up my auto generator here. So we had 40 cars start the race. Jeremy Patterson did not start the race. He was our 41st, but we had 40 cars start the race. And you can see here in the lower right corner of our broadcast, we have a random number generator. What we're going to do is we're going to let these guys pit, and then we're going to generate a random number. And whoever's in that position at the time of that generation is going to win $5 in iRacing credits.
Who's going to be the big winner?
Now, we will just let these pit cycles first, just so we get guys back in line, and then we'll go ahead and give away that money.
So, are we going to pick, we're going to do the Battle of the Booth?
So, I had some questions about that. It's just the two of us in the booth this season. So, I don't think having the Battle of the Booth between us two is really all that exciting. But a suggestion was maybe we can get a random drawing, a random choice, or every week we have a driver pick a random. They can be that third person, so we could have a Battle of the Booth with three of us.
All right, well, regardless if we're doing it for points or just doing it for fun, I'm going to tell you who my money's on tonight.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm going to go with David Howard Jr. I think that team, you know, with Sean Butler and Tim and himself. I think they might have something for him.
Yeah, those guys are definitely when they get hooked up, they're tough to beat. I think that would be a smart pick all around. I'm gonna go with if I'm gonna pick one. I am gonna go with fellow owner Dustin Phillips, and this is kind of biased because I used to run with him at these races. I know what he's capable of when he gets hooked up with the right driver, whether he's pushing or being pushed. I think he's very talented on these super speedways, so he's gonna be my pick this week.
All right, excellent choice. You know, like we talked about it already, DPM seems to be. There was a lot of hype in the preseason about that team forming, and the drivers that were selected to be part of that team. I you know, I want to go as far as to say that they threw the gauntlet down out to the rest of the field, but we'll see how that turns out for them.
All right, let's go ahead and hit our random number generator, and then we'll jump to that position on track and see who wins our $5 in iRacing credits. Number 36. 36, Jeff Sharp is our winner of our first iRacing credit. Looks like I think he's in the pits right now. There he comes exiting. So 36. That's the 949 of Jeff Sharp. $5 in iRacing credits. Congratulations. We'll send that to you after the race.
And that's awesome. And again, big shout out to Team Wow CRC for doing that. That's really impressive. And maybe just give CRC a shout out there. You know, those guys, they, correct me if I'm wrong, they're remote control cars, correct?
Yeah, CRC, you know what? I forget what they stand for. Corona Racing Concepts or something like that. They're located in Rome, New York. They have some pretty cool products, man. If you're into RC racing, and I'm not talking like, you know, your little toy cars. This stuff is badass RC racing. Super fast. I had the opportunity to go checking out Brian Wynn Racing in Florida while I was down there at the start of the year, and man, this stuff is awesome. I'd love to get into it. Unfortunately, in Toronto, there's not a ton of places to race this stuff, but if you're in the U.S., there's probably a ton of local places you can go and join a cool club, and CRC sells some pretty top products. There wasn't a podium where I was there and I watched these races. There wasn't a podium where CRC wasn't involved in the top three or even in the winner. So check them out, www.teamcrc.com. They are sponsoring this race here as well, and we thank them for their support.
Yeah, I know Brian Wynn. He's out there traveling quite a bit. We follow him on Facebook, and he was in Minneapolis where I'm at, and I didn't have a chance to get out there to see him. I wish I could have, but I know, like you said, you got a chance to see him down in Florida, to see him run those tracks, and that's a whole other type of racing, and those guys are awfully good at it. So, again, big shout out to them, and thanks for the support they're giving the Pro Series here.
Yeah, I'll tell you the hand-eye coordination and the reflexes that are involved in driving those cars the way they do and not hitting walls and stuff. A lot of practice goes into something like that. So if you ever have a chance to check them out, check out their Facebook page. There's some videos. Brian has posted a ton of video. Pretty neat, pretty fun stuff to watch. Looks like these guys are getting side by side. We're going to be going back green here. We are turning lap 34. So we'll be taking the green on lap 35. We're winding down pretty quick. You gotta think about where you're gonna be and when you want to be there pretty soon here.
Yeah, I don't think we're done with our cautions though. You know, cautions breed cautions, and we've got the field group back up again. I think it's gonna get a little bit more interesting before before we see him get to that point.
Yeah, cautions definitely do breed cautions. It will be interesting to see how these guys do, but hey, they proved that they know how to get around this track. Oh, looks like the start was waved off possibly. Not everyone was in line. So we're going to go around one more time just to get all these cars sorted out before we go back to green here.
So while we're under caution, you know, again, going back to some of these interviews that we've had with the drivers, you know, we've asked them, you know, what's their pre-race ritual as they're getting ready. You know, it varies. You know, some of them their responses were more of, you know, I'm rushing to get home, and trying to say hi to the wife or the girlfriend, and get down there to turn some laps. You got others putting on their favorite music, getting in the zone. It's kind of interesting. I mean, it's interesting to see what these drivers go through before the race.
Yeah, we've all got our routines, and I think it's just like any other. I I like relating it to a sport where you want to get pumped up, but you do want to get pumped up. You do want to get engaged with it. A lot of us take it seriously, and I think the more serious you take it, the more fun you can have with it.
Yeah, Calvin Allison, he's not out on the track tonight, but I'm looking at his response, and his was he always listens to Black Label by Lamb of God before any important race, mostly because that's him on the track, and so that's his words, not mine. But again, um, interesting routines.
Hey, whatever gets you set up for a good race. Looks like we've got a very long inside line here. Leave it to iRacing to not get these guys lined up properly. We've got 7 cars on the outside. The rest are lined up on the inside as we take the green.
And if I'm in the back, I'm probably not too concerned about that. That probably works for me.
Yeah, if I'm on the lead lap, yeah, I don't mind. That's fine. 2x2 here as we get up to speed. Takes these cars, a full lap to get up to speed. And while you're getting up to speed, going through the gears, you want to make sure you're hitting all your marks and changing gears, as soon as you can. You don't want to miss a gear, and that'll really just hold up the pack behind you. Guys bumping off, into each other if you do that. So it's not just holding the throttle and going here.
One driver we haven't talked about tonight is Brent Cowboy Rogers. Now that's the guy that's been around the league a while.
Yeah, Brent definitely goes back to Average John. We're going back to an old league we used to run 2 years ago. Brent's a good racer. I like seeing him on track. And super happy that he is stuck around this long. I don't think there's very many of us, Mike Abbott being one of them, that have been around as long as Brent has. Look at those cars, man, on the backstretch. I love seeing those cars just come down that backstretch. We got cars swapping lanes and setting up corners. It's great to see so many cars still on the track here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mike Abbott being the first car 1 lap down, him and Jeff Sharp racing to be that lucky dog if caution should come out. So Mike's in a good spot, so I think we'll continue to monitor his progress. Probably not going to be as aggressive here and hopes that he stays out of somebody else's mess.
Yeah, he's going to want to stay that first car a lap down, but pick up that lucky dog or the wave around. Just want to make sure you're in that position. It's not over by any means, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I was just taking a look. Corey Wharton is the other car. So we got 3 cars a lap down, and we got a 4th car, which is 2 laps down, in Corey Wharton. And I'm not really sure how he ended up 2 laps down. Maybe he had some issues there, or maybe he just got screwed up some pit strategy or something.
I did notice he was a couple laps down really early in the race, so I don't know if he had a single car incident or maybe someone turned around, but I didn't see it on track. But he was down really early in the race. Just going to reset my overlays. I'm showing a caution again, so just give me 2 seconds here.
It's kind of interesting while you're doing that. I'm going to talk about these guys on running that high line. Normally we see the rubber build up on the outside line there, and always cause some issues if it's not worn in. And maybe running that high line at the beginning may be beneficial to some of these drivers, as they're not as hard on those tires running that high line. I'm not. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's absolutely 100% true. I think that arcing that turn or even running that high line can definitely save tires. When you're holding it down on that yellow line, you can really only do that for the first 8 or so laps with what these guys were saying. But after that, the cars start to fall off, and then you have no choice but to drift up. So you kind of want to, I guess it's somewhere in a happy medium, whether you save your tires or race hard. But we're still only on lap 40. We got over half the race left. I'm not racing too hard yet. If I'm top 10, or if I even can see the leaders, at least sniff their draft, I'm in a good spot. I'm happy with where I am.
Yeah, and I think when we get down to about 25 to go, this long drawn out field that we have, I don't see that happening. I see about 2-3 wide. it getting a little bit crazy.
Oh, these guys are definitely being good right now. I think they're on their best behavior, so to speak.
Yep.
It will not be that way when we get down to it, for sure.
No, I'm seeing most of these guys, it's kind of a mixed bag in that a lot of the drivers took 4 tires, but there was a couple of two tire takers out there. How would you like to be out there on 2 tires, Mike? 2 freshmen.
I don't know, man. I'd prefer 4, but if I could get myself up to the top on 2, I think I feel safer out front than I do in the rear. I guess it just depends on how many cars you got around you.
Yeah, I guess the only way to find out is to actually do it, to see how your car is going to perform. But it's awfully risky. You really have to have the stars aligned for that to work. As we see the 39 get into the 72 there, I believe, of Jason, or 73 of Jason Garrett, I believe.
Yeah, we definitely saw him go into the wall. No caution.
Looks like he's keeping it up on the high side.
Yeah, that car is heavily damaged. He's going to definitely have to bring it in. Unfortunate to see there.
Yeah, that Coors Light Chevrolet was definitely doing well up front. He'd been running at the top of the pack there for quite some time.
Well, hopefully he's got that quick repair. He'll get it repaired to get back out on track. He's going to lose a lap, but if he can try and get out there before Mike comes around.
Yeah, but even if he does, he's going to get past. He's going to have to fall in line with the rest of the cars there.
So just to comment on the driver liveries, some of the paint schemes have not been updated this race, so we got some old paint jobs. We'll have that fixed for next week. For some of these guys, it looks like my iRacing did not, or my Trading Paints did not update everybody, so we'll try and get that sorted out for next week. We apologize for that. Some getting kind of racy there in the front there. We got 2 wide, about 4 back, 5 back. These guys are, I think I want to kind of start thinking about where I can make my moves. It's time to start testing, so to speak, and figure out where you should run and what you can do. Is wow, Corey Wharton just pushes up. Corey's like you said, a couple laps down, so he's going to do his best to stay up with these leaders, but he doesn't want to be the cause of any incidents here.
No, and I think it was talked about yesterday in the practice with the drivers that were able to make the practice session. Some of these drivers haven't raced this setup, and I think we may be seeing the result of that. I mean, and it goes to the importance. It's why we host a practice session on Tuesday. You get to, do your own testing, get your own settings squared away, and then, I think we're just seeing Corey kind of having the tail end of the deal here as a result.
Yeah, if you're used to a setup, it's just jumping into this car with default weather, a little bit warmer than we're used to running here, and having that tight setup, it can definitely throw you off for sure if you didn't get the practice. But yeah, that's why we run those practices, and you'll see the good drivers come out every Tuesday like clockwork, spend 2 hours on the track, and then even today we ran an hour and a half practice before the race, and I was happy to see 15-20 drivers as we go 3 wide. just forcing his way through there. Interesting, good move there. Keeps it off the wall, but I don't think...
That was DJ Anderson in the 951 there. Yeah.
Bruce Potter on the high side did scrape that wall. Probably not going to be too happy with that move. But hey, if you're sitting behind cars that you think are slower and you see a hole, you're gonna jump into it.
But I agree with you. But I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this, because you might be faster, but you're not going to be faster for long. This isn't like a mile and a half track where if you're faster, you're pretty much faster consistently around the track. The only reason why you're faster here is because you utilize the draft to do a slingshot move on somebody, and eventually you're gonna have that air hit you again, and you're gonna slow down. So you got to really be conscious of that. And I think Bruce may not have liked that move so much.
Yeah, you're right. You can be fast until you get up to the front, and then once you're up to the front, everyone else is faster than you again, especially at this track. There's no pulling away from a pack. But if you get up to the front and you know how to manage the draft and swap positions, you can stay up there. But that said, you want to test and know what your car can do before the end of the race. You don't want to make a winning move for the first time with 2 laps to go. You want to know what you can do. You want to be comfortable in it. And so these guys are going to, test those. We got a car smoking way in the back there, but doesn't look like there's any caution. This is the 999. He's going to just race his own lap back. He's just, I'm going to take it right here on the inside and get my lap back now.
I think it's interesting to see how it flips the switch in some guys. You got some of these guys out here, and they openly admit they're passive drivers until the end. They're conservative, and then all of a sudden somebody cuts them off, or somebody makes a move that they were just like, "Why'd you do that?" And then all of a sudden they go from conservative mode to overly aggressive mode.
Yep, and it's easy to kind of go on tilt, so to speak. You get kind of pushed around, you get upset with yourself, and then you're going to be overly aggressive, and you're going to cause more incidents, and it kind of just snowballs as the 999 is going to drop down, and these guys are going to drive, or at least the 82 is going to try and drive around the outside. Interesting racing going on up here, up front. Looks like the top 15 or so have kind of gotten into line. I think we're at to the point where those tires are now again starting to fall off.
And you got Mike Abbott up there just wanting to get that lap back. What he would love to do is lead this pack and be at the tail end of the lead lap and get it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, it's funny. The 2 fastest cars on the track right now are not on the lead lap.
Yeah, it is good.
Hey, but if you're DJ Anderson, man, in the 951 car, you got 2 lap cars in front of you. Hey, they want to pull me around and let me save some gas. Go for it.
Do it. Yeah, absolutely. So while we're watching this happen, Mike, we should talk a little bit about our touring series on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, we got cars on the inside. Looks like we got guys coming in. They're coming in really early, or maybe they're coming off pit road. Sorry about that.
Yep, coming off.
But yeah, our touring series Sunday nights. Right now we're running a super late model series, short tracks, and it's an open setup series. A lot of fun. It's open to anybody. If our viewers have iRacing and you want to join us, look for us on Sunday evenings. You can find us under the hosted session. Long practice again starts at 7 o'clock. Long practice. You can get in there, do some wrenching. There is a password. The password is touring. So write that down and come join us on Sunday nights. We get pretty good turnouts, 10, 15. I think we've seen up to 20 cars on Sunday, so come check it out. We'll have some promotional videos in the future that we can run during our broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely, and that touring is all lowercase as well.
Yeah, password is touring, lowercase. I got it up on screen there for you. This schedule, I think, is off. I think we had a couple of delay weeks, so the schedule might not be correct. But again, like I said, Sunday nights, 7 p.m. practice. Race starts at 8:30. Come check us out. Looks like we got some cars jumping in pit road. 47. That's an interesting time to be coming in. That's earlier than lap 25 that we saw earlier in the race. But we had that caution. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, I mean, I get it. It puts you on a different pit cycle. You're probably pitting with guys that you want to be pitting with, but at the end of the day, if the stars don't align, you're out there on older tires. You might be up front, but you're going to be on the older tires. Your car's not going to be handling the way you want it to. If it goes green, and it's definitely going to work in their favor. They're going to be out there a little bit. They might even gap the field a little bit, but to come in with 3 cars when you got a field of 30 plus cars behind you all running together, they're going to catch you quick.
I'll tell you, even right now, we've got the leaders, DJ Anderson and Trent Potter, running with a couple lap down cars. Those 4 cars are about a second and a half, 2 seconds in front of this next biggest group. But in my mind, 4 cars is not a big enough group to be able to run quickly, and if that second group was to get a line and force the issue, I think they could catch up and blow by those other 4 cars.
Well, that is a possibility. It is getting interesting up front. I'm just watching Mike Abbott and Corey Wharton there. That got awfully close, and the last thing that either one of those two want to see is damage to their car, as they came very close to touching, if not touching there, as they fight to be that first car.
Mike Abbott is actually on the lead lap with Mike. If Corey was, I don't know if it would work out.
Caution's out.
We do have a caution.
And Mike is going to take full advantage of this.
Let's see if we can take a look. Tommy MC is on the shoulder. His car is a little bit crunched there. Let's see if we can figure out what happened.
It is kind of interesting too while you're looking for that. We don't. I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. I said there's a lot of teams that would probably be working together. We haven't really seen the teams doing that. Lined up. The DPM cars, we see a couple of them there, but it's DJ Anderson was up there by himself for the most part.
Yeah, just watching that replay, looks like maybe got a little bit tight going into turn 1.
He collected somebody, though.
Yeah, we do have a couple cars collected. He was turned for sure. Turned around by the car behind him. Trying to find a better view here. Let's ride on board.
Looks like Dale Albright was involved in that. In the 26, I believe.
Yeah, 26 in the 977. Yeah, just a little tap there was enough. That car got a little bit off the ground, those rear tiles, as it turned around, and that's what brought out the caution.
Yeah, it was just a slight rub on that back bumper, but just any little disturbance is going to throw those cars off. So.
Yep, especially entering a turn like that, you're diving in. That rear is already kind of upset as you dive in, and it doesn't take much to turn it around. It just kind of whips around there, and that'll end your race. Hopefully, he had a quick repair, or if not, he used it up. But so far, we're about halfway through. We got 43 laps, just over halfway. As we got a car, Joshua Buckley looks like he's parking it on the inside. Not sure why he's doing that there.
Yeah, that is it's an interesting tactic by the two. Normally, we do see him step away from the car to
yeah to complete some business. I wonder if that's the case here. He's definitely done that in the past.
Yeah, he's been known to do that, but I've always seen him park in the pits. I haven't necessarily seen him park on the backstretch to do that. So maybe he's having some engine problems.
We got to get a logo for when we think Josh is away from the wheel, so to speak.
Yes, I think it should be like an outhouse with a line through it.
We'll monitor his speed, and when he gets moving again, we'll go check him out and see what he does here. If he doesn't hurry, the pack is going to put him a lap down.
I just want to throw something out. Do you see who's leading the field?
Well, look at that. We got the David Howard Jr. in the 917 car.
Followed by his teammates with Tim and Sean there. So
yeah, that's not a coincidence if I do say so myself there. Those guys, I'm sure they're happy to be leading right now.
And that's Team IFM, Insanely Fast Motorsports. Is that
Insanely
right?
Fast Motorsports, yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Good to see Sean Butler joining us from Red Light. He's been really successful over at Red Light Racing, and looking forward to seeing what he can bring over from that league. And like having the competition on track. So anytime we get some good talent, I'm happy to see that. As we're talking about Red Light, check out our websites. We do have our website, NAVSCAR, www.navscar.com. That's home for everything NAVSCAR. We do have information about the series, the schedule, sponsorship. Lots of great information. We're actually going through a little bit of a change here, so I'll be adding more information over the coming weeks. Check them out. And like I said, redlightleague.com. That's our sister league. They run Monday nights. A lot of the drivers from this league, like I was saying, run over that league. They have a lot of like-minded individuals. They kind of try and do things the same style that we do. And yeah, anybody who wants to get that experience, go check them out. Right now, we are full. Our league is chock full. So if you're looking for the experience that you can get over here at NAVSCAR, and we turned you down just because right now we're full, they'd be happy to see you over at Red Light. Look at that, Josh Buckley back into second place.
Well, there you go. And so again, I really think we need to get that outhouse with the line through it out there. So when he does step away, we can throw that up on the screen. But I wanted to go real quick back to Sean Butler. In the interview with him, one, he said, I asked him, who paints your cars? And he said David Howard. And, that's a teammate of his. And again, more team dynamics, not only in setup, but in paint schemes and everything that they do. So it's really impressive. But, the one thing that I thought was interesting is that he runs a Fanatic Club Sport wheel with the version 2 there with a BMW rim.
Nice.
Real nice. Yeah, real nice wheel. He uses the V2 pedals with it, and he's got a Thrustmaster shifter that he's using to get that car around the track. So real nice there. One of his favorite drivers too. He's a big Dale Earnhardt fan, but other than that, he couldn't be rooting for Dale. Obviously, he's going to be rooting for Dale Jr. So you see that a lot in the sport. But just a little background there on Sean Butler.
All right, we guys are coming back to the green flag with 41 laps. Will be 40 laps to go as we take the green. Hopefully my overlays switch the green flag. Might have to look into why that's not happening properly as the pace car comes in. And still a great number of cars. It's a great scene. I love seeing these guys take that green flag as they cross the start-finish line here.
So I'm curious, though. If you're way in the back and you're single file and the guy in front of you isn't going fast, would that not just irritate you?
Yeah.
Like he's hanging back. Like you can't pass that car. Well, you can on the outside, but you know what I mean? He's probably just at that speed where you can't get around him. I mean, it's like, and then you're asking yourself, why are you hanging back so much? But interesting.
Oh, I'm sure the guys will talk about it after the race. All right, so it'd be interesting to see what these guys do. We've got David Howard Jr., Timothy Lewis, Joshua Buckley, Sean Butler, 1, 2, 3, 4. see who hooks up with who here.
And I did notice Josh Buckley put his car in between Sean Butler and is it Tim Lewis there?
Yeah, probably a smart thing to do.
Yeah, split those guys up. And he's got his teammate. So we got IFM up front teammates, and we got the DPM teammates. It's getting a little interesting. Side-by-side racing up in front. 2x2 first 2 rows, and then single file after that. I'm not really sure how long that's going to last for those guys on the top line. And it doesn't look like there's any takers far behind them. So, well, some of the DPM guys thought about going up there, but everybody's sticking on that low line.
I'll tell you, you come off getting new tires, you feel like your car is just, a new life has been brought to it, and you kind of race a little bit harder. You can see these guys staying on that low line a lot tighter on that line than we've seen earlier in the race. And I think with 38 laps to go, I think we're going to be seeing this style of racing a lot longer, and these guys are going to fight a lot harder for those positions.
So with that being said, you got David Howard Jr. down on that low line, and he is, well, in my words, the control car. He can choose to go up into that high line to take that draft off of him, but I'm not really sure he's going to want to leave his teammate.
Yeah, I don't think he is going to jump away from his teammate. But I don't know if those 2 cars on the outside have enough to get around the lower line the way that they are lined up right now. 87 Trent Potter and the 59 of Bruce Potter. Those guys are going to work together, obviously. But I don't. Oh, we see him jump up there.
Yeah,
and jump back down. See, and that's really what is key. We see Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the real world. Yep. Just jump up, jump down, manage the bubble. You got these cars behind you. They're pushing. If you can see it, a bubble of air. They're just pushing that air, and you, as the front car, you can bounce your car, off of that bubble and get that little bit of a push. And when you manage it back and forth like that, you prevent one line from getting an advantage over the other line.
Yeah, we haven't seen the guys on the top line be too aggressive, and I'm glad we're not seeing them try to side draft. A lot of guys in this situation, when they're up top by themselves like that, they'll try to come down, get that side draft on the car below them, but it's a risky proposition to do.
It works, and I think we will see it happen as the 87 did get towards the 2 there on that straightaway. We might not see it happen as much in the corner just because of the way that the setup is a pushy setup, but going down the backstretch, I think you might see these guys just kind of try and get that little bit of extra momentum by doing that side draft. Let's take a look as these guys go into 3 here. The 2 is using it. He's going up and trying to get a bit of a draft off the 87. You can see how high he is off of that yellow line.
Yeah, and you got to wonder. You got 3 DPM cars there. I'm certain they're wanting to hook up. I think that's why we were seeing Josh look to that outer line to see if he could make a move to then pull in the DJ Anderson and who else we got up there.
Yeah, I think you're going to see, especially if you're in 3rd place, 4th place, and that inside line is not moving, you might see these guys try and move up and make that outside line work. But you can see here as the inside line takes that back straightaway, they're moving up the track too. So you can only go so high.
Right. I believe we're seeing Dustin Phillips up there too, but I'm showing him a lap down. Is that what you got him as well?
He's definitely lapped down as we got cars going around.
Caution.
I think I saw the 555 of Butch turned around there. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happened here.
Yeah, and Brian Wynn just caught as Bush was going down the track. Unfortunate there for Brian Wynn. He was just trying to go low to avoid it, and wasn't even really going fast. Just Butch, trying to get off the track, was heading down low and tagged him there.
Let's see if we can take a look again here from top view. We can see the 555 a little bit slow. The 964 moves kind of up, and oh yeah, the 555 just maybe turns down over that tri-oval a little bit.
Yep.
And just kind of wraps himself around the 954. Tough break there by Butch. Never like seeing Butch turn that car around. And you're right, just tags Brian Wynn there a little bit as he's getting straightened out. Let's go ahead and ride on board with Butch and see what he saw. You can see here, he might not know he's got a car just on the inside, and yeah, that just turns him around. That in-game spotter can be a little bit late on making those calls. That's why a triple monitor setup with your rear views turned on might help you out. Or even having a real-world sponsor, or a spotter, which we now offer at NAVSCAR if you have a buddy who wants to spot for you. Having that real-world feel and having that guy make calls based on intuition and knowing what's going to happen instead of just, is this car barely on the inside? It's going to help you a long way.
Oh, absolutely. And it makes a huge difference, especially in a race like this. Getting that real-time information is critical.
All right, we got a whole bunch of cars there on pit road. It's full, man. Every single car is on the lead lap. Looks like they're on pit road right now. Hopefully everybody can get in and get off cleanly. Don't like to see collisions on pit road. Good thing about iRacing is that if you're on that inside line, on that pit box, there is no collision. But as soon as you step out into the pit road, yeah, anything's game.
Yeah. Pit road looks like rush hour traffic here in Minneapolis. So who was our lucky dog? Was it Dustin Phillips?
I am showing him on the lead lap.
Yeah, and before we went to caution, he was a lap down. So I believe he was our lucky dog. And so now we've got, looks like we got pretty much all of Dustin Phillips Motorsports drivers on the lead lap, which is going to make things interesting for the rest of the field. So when you're High Rev Motorsports, when you got Mike Abbott and you got Brent Rogers, Corey Wharton actually used to ride in High Rev, and I don't believe he's actually on that team this year. So you got some 3, you got some 4-car teams out there, and then you look at High Rev with 2. I think they're going to need some more friends.
Yeah, and over time you build up those friendships and you learn who you can run with, and you can change teams through the season, so I'm sure we'll see some things change. And with a lot of new rookies, I think we're going to see some teams form between those guys as well.
Hey, Mike, have you received our charter paychecks from the drivers?
I'm still waiting on those for sure.
Yeah, I know. I keep checking the mailbox, but I don't see them.
We'll have to send out a reminder to everybody. Think of it as an investment in your future. Once the charter membership is yours, you can sell it to another team. No problem.
Absolutely.
What do you think about the rules changes in the real world sport this week?
I don't know. Sometimes I say, I don't care about change. I mean, change is inevitable and it's going to happen. But they've had some real issues making changes too quickly. The only one that I do like is the one where there's the stripe on the backstretch now. If they don't make the full lap there, then they do it again. I mean, I'm a big Dale Jr. fan, and to see him get taken out of the chase and go to the next round by 20 feet, that hurts. But it is what it is. I mean, they're gonna make their changes to try to make it more safe, or safer for the drivers, and then more fun for the fans. So we'll have to just see how it plays out.
What are they calling that now? Overdrive or overtime?
Yeah, something like that. Because there is, the way I understand it is that the race can't end if they never pass that line
Yeah, you're right.
on the backstretch, and they'll just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until until they finally do. So
Till there's no cars left, my friend.
that's right.
Can't wait till iRacing brings that in here. There's a lot of things that iRacing, hopefully they bring in and make it a little bit more realistic. But so far, hey man, I'm happy with the results from this race. As we're getting double filed, looks like they did a better job of getting everyone lined up here. We got a pretty big double file pack here for 29 to go.
It's going to get interesting. Real quick before they go to green, two things I want to see brought into iRacing is the electronic dashboards that are all in the cars, and I want to be able to have and control my own track bar. It's been in the series now for quite some time. As a driver, I would want to be able to manipulate that track bar.
Yeah, on the fly, that would actually be.
Absolutely.
I would like to see us as administrators of a league to set a setup and then have the drivers be able to manipulate that track bar live.
That
so
would be awesome.
Not change the setup, but make driver control setup changes during the race. That would be good.
Yeah, that would provide some awesome control right there. So who do we have up front?
We got Sean Butler and David Howard Jr. Bringing that first row to the start finish here.
Yeah, and Josh Buckley right in the mix, DJ Anderson right in the mix. Two different teams here, jockeying for position. And the way that they're lined up, they've got two teams, or one team on the front row, another team on the back row, and then you've got a driver like Dan Vieglin up there, and Trent Potter trying to figure out, well, how do I get around these guys, or how do I partner up with these guys to carry me wherever they're going?
Yeah, I think as a driver, especially this late in the race, you're anyone's friend, man. If you can find someone you can help and help yourself at the same time, I think you're doing it. If you happen to have a teammate, in the same vicinity as you, you're gonna go that way. But at this point, I think anybody's game.
Yeah, I would agree. And we are seeing the guys get a little bit more aggressive, tightening up the field. We're definitely running 2x2 here, and I think we're just going to continue to see that.
Now, can we go to the finish? 27 laps to go. We saw.
I think we can.
I honestly
think we can.
I think a couple drivers can. And as we zoom in on that 2, there's no space between the 2 and the I believe the 925 there. There's some good pushing going on as we have fresh tires here. But I think as we get those tires heated up and warmed up a little bit and a little bit slicker, that might calm down a bit.
It will, but it introduces a new variable that you've got to account for, because now you're pushing, now your temperature is going up on your car, and you've got nowhere to get out to cool it down. And so the last thing you want to be is too wide, nowhere to go, and your car overheating.
I think there is a certain point, though, where you start ignoring the gauges, though. At like two or three to go, you can flash it all you want.
Absolutely. But I'm talking about like right now. I mean, it's not so bad right now because they're starting to get in a little bit of single file as some of them are jockeying for position. But I wouldn't want to be up on the bumper of the 2 like that and be stuck there, because the 2's just going to keep on going, and you're going to have to back off of them a little bit or try to get some air on that bumper. I just honestly, I cannot believe the showing that we're seeing out of DPM. I'm really honestly surprised. I know there was a lot of chatter in preseason. A lot of guys said that they had a lot of speed. We weren't really sure how these drivers were going to work together. This is their first year together, and they seem to be meshing pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. Joshua Buckley, DJ, they're hooked up right now, and they're thinking about how they can bring home a win here for their team. Dustin is at the tail end of this lap, but he is on the lead lap. His car looks pretty good, so 24 laps to go. I think he's going to be trying to get up into that battle soon as well.
So let's talk about some of these rookies. We've got Dan Vigeland, and the next one in 10th place is Mitch Muma. Two guys, they're doing top 10 right now. I mean, that's a heck of a showing for the first race in the Pro Series.
Yeah, I'd be happy with my rookie start. Finishing top 10, top 5, and we can't all be as lucky as Chase Elliott and pick up a pole. With that Hendricks power, but we'll see how he does at the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one we haven't talked about in a while is Mark Bratcher. Mark joined us. He caught a couple races at the end there. He paints actually quite a few paint schemes for some of these guys. I know he was really excited about getting into the car and racing out here. So he's quite a ways back there in 19th. I don't know if he's playing it safe, but I think that the time for playing it safe is kind of going out the door here. He's got about 20 laps here to make it happen.
Yeah, I do see a little bit of damage on that car, so he might be at a bit of a disadvantage. I think his rear end's pushed in a little bit, so that could hurt the car. But yeah, it's good to see him. I know he's super excited about this series and this season, so I'm sure we'll see a lot from him over the next couple weeks. Got a good battle going on for first place right now. We got Sean Butler on the 919 pushing David, I believe, in the 917 on the outside. We've got two cars on the inside pushing pretty hard here as well.
Yeah, that's
that's a lap down car.
Yeah, James Haney and looks like Scott Kidd, I believe is who that is, lap down. Trying to work together as the 955 gets awfully close to that 951 of DJ Anderson.
Yeah, it's nervous being on the outside. You want to give the guys as much room as you can, because for that very reason, you don't know if they can keep it held down. As we really see a lot of these guys running the high line. I'm surprised how they're running the high line, but it's tough to. Yeah, it's true. I
mean, the lap cars caught up to speed and then forced the front four to that outer line, but the lap cars now have the other cars behind them, which are not letting them fall back like they'd probably like to see happen, and now they're in the mix, making it even more complicated for the guys behind the top three.
We still got 20 laps to go, and if you're thinking about running this tank basically empty, you got to be thinking about how you're going to manage your tires too. I think it's going to come down to who does the best job at doing that as we turn lap 20 here.
So one of the cars on the last group of, well, that's a bad way of explaining it. The last two cars on this main pack is Brent Rogers and got Raymond Edge back there and Jeff File. They're just hanging back there. Are you thinking they're thinking that there's going to be an incident and they're just keeping their stuff clean right now?
Yeah, I don't think the carnage is over yet with 19 to go. They could be thinking the same thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of jockeying for position back there, and we are starting to see him close the gap with Dustin Phillips and Raymond Edge. They seem to be working together pretty well. Last year, I ran that race for Dustin in his 6 car and was real happy to do it. And I bet he's real happy to be out there in the thick of things. And he was your pick tonight, so hopefully he can come up through the field.
Yeah, I need to get this season off to a good start. I know, can't let you forget, I did win the Battle of the Booth last season, so
Oh,
I'm sure Dustin will pull it through for me.
I already forgot. But
Yeah, right. Don't worry, I'll mention it 4, 5, 17 more times before the end of the season.
I don't doubt you will. You know, and it's interesting, you know.
Ooh, we got the 87 going real high, trying to keep it off the wall there. The 2 car was pushing mid-track there, but looks like just a little tap.
'87 of Trent Powder, right?
That is correct. You can see he's fallen back a little bit, and you know I think we're seeing the results of that tire wear here. As it looks like do we have a caution?
I don't believe so.
Oh, my overlays, man.
So I was going to mention Raymond Edge. You know, he's out there running for Team Hooligan Motorsports, and you know, being a driver short with Calvin missing. You know, that's I'm sure he'll find a friend out there to bring that 72 up to the front.
Yeah, he's in a good pack of cars here. You know, a little bit of communication between these guys, they could make something work. But they got to do it soon with 16 to go.
I think there's another Hooligan driver out there. I just can't. I'm looking to see who it is.
Jordan Beck, I believe, is Hooligan as well.
And Nick Payne. But
oh, we got cars going around.
Oh, and Dustin Phillips is involved in that one. He's still wrecking.
Mark Bratcher was collected in that as well. Let's see if we can take a look.
And the 6 car Phillips looks like he's going to have to be towed.
Oh yeah, looks like we do have some contact between those couple cars there. Let's see if we can take a look at that again.
It was just a slower car that caused it. You know, it's real unfortunate to see that slower car had some damage. Go back and see.
Yeah, you know, Mark Bratcher, he was keeping speed there, but looks like maybe he was a little bit off the pace. Just a tad came down, and more of what we saw earlier. And that's unfortunate that Dustin was collected in that. Nowhere to go. We had a couple cars collected in that late incident there.
Nate LaFleur involved. I believe that's Whopper Jr. Nate LaFleur just, you know, I hope he's okay after that, because if that was a real wreck, that was a Kyle Busch wreck right there. He just put that nose right into the wall.
Yeah, we're watching on board with Nate right now, and oh yeah, nowhere to go. And yeah, smoke, barely see, and that's that. Let's ride on board with Dustin. This is just going to unfold. I mean, like, he's getting off of it already. He knows that these guys look a little bit squirrely up there, and that's it. Just nowhere to go, and it's going to end his race today.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because you mentioned the smoke. The smoke was one of the enhancements, if you will. Not that there wasn't smoke before in the game, but you know, the one thing that is more prominent. In fact, it was talked about quite heavily over in the red light race the other night. Is when there's an incident in front of you and the smoke starts coming out. It's pretty much like the real deal. I mean, it's a whiteout.
And that just brings that added, you know, enhancement. And you know what I'm noticing though, watching these onboards, is you can really see the rubber buildup on the track more so than I've seen in the past. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, you know, the way that kind of worked out there. But you know what it's going to allow these guys to do?
What's that?
Get some tires and run that race to the finish here.
Well, yeah, I would agree. I'm not sure. I mean, it's gonna help, but they're just gonna be on top of each other now, and it's if there's a time to say cautions breed cautions, I think now is it, because there's not gonna be any give.
I agree. I think we're gonna see some hard racing here to finish. Um, should make it interesting though. 13 laps to go. We got at least one more pace lap, so we'll probably be looking at about 11 laps when we get under green. Nice little shootout here.
Any team orders? Do you think there's any team orders tonight?
Yeah, don't wreck me. That's an order.
That's probably the only one, because like we talked about at the very beginning of the broadcast, you might have teammates when you start, but when there's a 5 to go, that goes right out the window.
Yep, for sure. It's every man for themselves at this point. Everybody wants that first win of the season, and we haven't really talked about what we're doing this season, but this is a full season. We're running all year. We're mirroring the NASCAR schedule. There's a chase. There is a win and you're in situation. So how great would it be, to leave this week a chase contestant? Like you're locked in.
That actually would be pretty awesome. I mean, you've seen it in real life with Dale Jr. Not last year, but the year before, and I mean, it's a great feeling. And then now they can. Well, my personal opinion is you'll see him be a little bit more aggressive. You'll see him try different things as a result. I mean, they've got a guaranteed ticket into the race and, or into the chase. And yeah, it's going to give them opportunities to do other things. And where you can see other guys that aren't in that boat be a little bit more conservative and do everything they can do to be up front. But, these kind of races, the super speedways, and we've talked about it before, but, it's one of these things that anybody can win this race. There is no one guaranteed. There's not the best driver is is only as good as those that are around him. So it's still up for grabs.
And there is a little bit of luck involved at a place like Daytona. So
yeah, I would agree. And some of the questions, somebody had posted a question. I believe it's. Did the leaders take tires? And yeah, I believe they did.
Jack Wells and Daniel Haney, I don't believe they actually came in. Mitch took 2 tires, David took 4, Sean took 4. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, Jack and Daniel Haney, I don't believe stopped.
No, they did not. In fact, Jack Wells has only had, from what I'm seeing, only 3 pit stops. And so he's got to be on some used equipment out there.
Yeah, and the front of his car is not looking too friendly here. So he's got to play this restart real smart. We'll see how he goes. Oh, Daniel Haney actually. Front of his car is not looking too friendly. So, we'll see how he does here. He's got to do his best to get up to speed quickly, and hopefully that damage isn't going to, slow him down too much.
I don't think it's going to, well, yeah, I do. It is going to slow him down, but he's going to have cars pushing him. But it's not going to take long for these guys behind him to figure out that he's slower, and they're going to want to get around him.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see him go back. So,
here we go. Green flag. And right away we got cars dropping down. You can see that outside line is just not really. Well, he's doing okay. The 917 just dropped down. And now things are going to get interesting. I bet you we're going to see some 3-rod racing here real quick.
Yeah, they are definitely a lot tighter. And I don't think anybody let up to leg back. We are definitely on as we see some bump drafting even going on up front. Oh, and as a result, David Howard Jr. almost turned.
Wow. It's not over yet.
Yep, bumped him in the corner. Jack Wall is almost, probably some older tires and just the fact that was disturbed there a little bit. Got loose, but nice recovery.
3 wide going into 1.
Yeah, on that yellow line. Now we don't have a yellow line in the corner rule here, I don't believe. Like we do we?
I don't think so. He didn't commit that pass under the line. We'll see how it goes here. Maybe we'll have to review
3
it.
wide.
Ooh, it's a mess.
Going into 3. Yep, and we do see a couple of those cars. Jack Walls, I believe, got into the wall as a result. Oh, CRC, John Pershing Jr. around. We got a wreck up front. We got a wreck in the back.
Wow, we got
lots of cars.
We have cars on the roofs.
It's getting crazy. There were 2 separate incidents there where cars got spinned.
Oh yeah, we got the CRC machine of the 15. Let's take a look and see what happened. Oh, you can see them checking up in front of the 15 here. They're slowing up real quick. We got cars 3 wide, and that's really what's going to start this, is these cars just get off the pace. Oh yeah, Mark gets into the car, just a little bit of a hard bump draft there that turns him around, and man, we got a car spinning.
Yeah, Will Long just, turns, well, not on purpose, but I mean, goes left right into the side of John Pershing Jr. and sends him around there.
And he spins like a top. Let's watch that one again. Oh, yeah, we have a couple different. Looks like there's 2 incidents that really get that going, but yeah. Oh, man. I think the 11 spun around 15, 16, 25 times. That's crazy. He just got hit and hit again and hit again. Hopefully he's be able to walk away from that one.
Yeah, that looked like a Dylan crash there. Just not in the catch fence.
Ride this on board with him and see. I'm going to see his wheel probably turn right real quick as he tries to save this car. I guess we can't see his wheel inputs.
But not a good night for Team CRC. They've been involved in incidents pretty much all evening, and usually not of their own doing. So. But it's a product of the racing, I mean, the only way you're going to get to the front is push the guy in front of you, or somebody's pushing you, so. That was actually...
Will Long, his car is... Oh, it doesn't sound too good here. Maybe it does. He looks good. Yeah, his car is... He saved that quick repair right to the end. That's good. I actually think he might... looks like he might still be a lap down from the toe. Do you think it's over now? You think we're gonna get to the checker here this time?
I do not think so. I think we're gonna see one more.
Yeah, I'd love to see this race end under green.
As would I.
Seven laps to go. I think this is gonna be the last chance to kind of get this one done. Hopefully these guys can, rein their enthusiasm in, so to speak, and finish this race off.
But you were asking 30 plus, almost 40 drivers to.
Yeah, we got. Let's just point out we still have 36 cars on the track, which I think that's the more cars than we've ever had in a race still at this point. 93 laps into a 100 lap race. So great turnout. Good to see these guys stick it out to the end. And I've seen a couple guys get repairs and try and finish this race. I was listening to an interview with Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying that when he was younger he used to park it and not finish races, and he now, a little bit older, a little bit more mature, he feels sick about that. He's like, he tries to give it his all no matter what. It's never over. And even at the Sprint Unlimited, when he got taken out by Brian Vickers this week, they tried to fix the car and get back out there. So,
and he's actually won a race after being in a wreck.
Yep.
He is capable of doing it. I mean, there are some things that are out of his control, obviously, but he has done it before. I mean, gone in several times to get tape on the car and get that nose fixed, and ends up winning the race. So.
Well, let's use this one last opportunity. Check out our website, www.navscar.com. Find information about us and what we're doing here. We're going to have a new website up soon, but it's not really up yet. NAVSCARRacingNetwork.com, where you can tune in for all our broadcasts. One nice page. We'll have that for you in the next couple weeks as well. So thanks for watching. We got 6 laps to go, and I'm looking forward to seeing the end of this race.
Absolutely, and if you'll notice that the top 5 cars all have a 9 in front of their number. We've got a lot of rookies and a lot of guys that were, either came in the mid part of last season or at the very end of tail season, joining us, and they're leading this race. So it's we're not seeing necessarily any of the Pro Series veterans up there. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it looks like the top 20 cars on the track right now did not come down and pit. I don't think we're going to see cars pit again. It's time to see what you got.
And it's going to be interesting too. We've seen David Howard Jr. Just touch that back end of the car in front of him there, and almost send him around. So, and honestly, I just don't think David even has a choice. I don't think anybody has a choice. You've got cars behind you, and if you don't make that move, they will. And so it's go time. So let's get ready.
All right, cars are coming off of turn 4. That pace car is going to pull in, make that hard left turn onto pit row, hopefully for the last time.
I'm seeing Brian win without even a
front end. I put him on film there. He's got no front end on his car there.
Yeah, and he's already got people pushing him.
He'll get out. He should be getting out of the way, letting these guys by. As we're watching the race up in front here, this lower line is just accordioning, checking up. We got cars getting not up to speed quickly as, wow, the outside lane just... Oh, do we have a caution?
We do. I'm not really sure what caused that one. We may have one. I think we may have one lap. I don't know. To go green. Somebody's smoking though, isn't there?
Yeah, the 919 is smoking. I'm gonna see if I can find out what happened here.
919 of Sean Butler.
Oh, you called it. The accident was between the 555 of Butch Frazier and the 00 of Brian Wynn.
Yeah, it would be interesting too. I mean, we might, the officials may need to look at that and give them an EOL to get them towards the back.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to finish the race out, so they, maybe put their car into a situation where it can't perform. And he's not the only one, though. There's a couple cars just not getting up to speed, and that's actually, I think, what the problem was. There was a car on the inside and a car on the outside, both not getting up to speed. The 930 of Daniel Haney.
And if you're Will Long, you gotta be just cursing in that car. You had just gotten it quick repaired, and yeah, Sean
Yeah.
Butler went into him about 180 miles an hour. It's not funny for Will, but it's just it was funny to watch.
So I think what we'll probably end up doing, and nothing's official because we're just kind of spitballing here, but I think damaged cars should request end of lines, and the in-race admins can issue those. Oh man, Sean just totally. I just got that on the broadcast. Sean just wailed into Will Long. Oh, buddy.
Yeah. Like I said, he's probably sitting in that car just cursing right now.
Yeah, and I doubt that was intentional by any means. Just getting up to speed, you expect the cars to be moving in front of you, and Sean was actually back a ways, so he was able to build up momentum and try and anticipate that start, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. And I think Sean went ahead and retired that car tonight.
Yeah, it looks like he did.
Well, the points standings after this are going to be a little bit interesting. Like you've already pointed out, we're going to have a winner who's going to get that ticket into the chase. We're going to have some guys that have led some laps, going to get some bonus points in there, and we do give away a point, I believe, too, for leading the most laps. Is that right?
Yeah, point for leading the most laps, point for leading a lap, and 3 bonus points, I believe, for winning a race.
Very nice.
Which would be the the NASCAR point system. The only difference is NASCAR has reduced their points from 43 to 40 just to match the field sizes. We're going to stick with 43 because we are not going to reduce the field size. If it is to happen where we get a field of 43, then so be it.
I don't think we're going to get a green flag one lap shootout here.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be crossing with a white flag this time. So it looks like, barring any incidents, Jack Wells, some strategy is going to have him get a win here.
Yeah, and and congratulations to him if that turns out to be the case. I mean, 1-2, rookies into our league, and what a showing! Wow.
Yeah, the top 3 spots all gonna finish with that 9, but we'll let the race finish just to make sure here. But you never know. I've seen some drivers pass the pace car in the last lap and take their own win away. So
if that happens, you might be sitting out a race or something.
Yeah. I forget who did it. Someone did it last season. Someone passed the pace car and wondered why they finished last car on the lead lap. Couldn't clue into it. And it's like, well, you passed the start-finish line before the pace car, so that's a no-no.
Help me help you. So what's the next race coming up after this?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I'm going to have to pull the schedule up. I haven't made a nice graphic yet, but let's take a look.
Yep, as the drivers go ahead and they take the white flag, and so we are on the last lap here. Looks like Jack Walls will take our first place, and second will go to Mitch Muma, I believe is how we say his last name, and third to David Howard Jr. So stick around. We're going to get these guys in the booth here for an interview, and it looks like we may be going to Atlanta. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, that is correct. We are doing the Falls of Honor Quick Trip 250 next Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. start time. We'll be racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway. A little bit different than this track, I would say.
Yeah, and that is going to get crazy with 40 cars out on the track. Because that's going to be a good race to watch.
Words don't even describe. But I'm looking forward to it, as with every race this season. Wait till we get to like a Martinsville or or a Sonoma.
Oh yeah, that Martinsville. Sonoma's not so bad because they do get spread out, but on a short track, there's nowhere for you to go other than where you're at, and even if you're at the end, it doesn't matter where you're on the track. There's chaos.
Two turns away, and we're going to be crowning our first winner of the 2016 Pro Series. Yeah, looking forward to the entire series. Like we've said, I like seeing those nines up front, and Jack Wells gets to lock up his invitation to the chase, so to speak.
That is mind-blowing, honestly. That is just honestly mind-blowing as we see Jack take the checkered flag with Mitch right behind him. Unbelievable. Rookie into the league. He's got to be just pumped in that car right now. Just punched his ticket.
Jack, man, I hope you can burn it up and take your interview, man. Some good strategy there at the end to finish that race. Hey, tell us about what you're thinking right now.
I can't believe it. I just can't believe this. I can't thank NAVSCAR enough for letting me join their league. It's my first league race. I've only been racing since in iRacing since this past August. And this is just an unbelievable moment here.
Yeah, it's got to be awesome. You just punched your ticket into the chase right here, right now with this win. And, we've had the Pro Series drivers out there with you. You've got other rookies that just joined the league. And man, you put that car up front and you held on to it. I mean, you got a little squirrely there. You had David Howard Jr. Around you. You had Mitch Muma in the 998, around you, all jockeying for position. I mean, what was going through your mind at that time when you were still under green?
Yeah, it's. I started on the pole. I led quite a few laps there in the beginning, and then, of course, I got passed by the guys on the outside. And then I got on the outside, and a car in front of me, like on lap 19 or around there, hit the wall and slowed down, and I got into the back of them. So a couple laps later, I had to use my fast repair, and then I found myself in the 30s, and I thought, I'll never get up front again. And I pitted a little bit early, and hoping that the other cars would have to pit, and then I'd move up to the front again, and then a caution would come out. And that happened to me twice, so I got stuck in the back. And there at the end, I figured my only chance to get up front was to stay out when everybody else pitted. And so I went from like 20th up to towards the front. And I was able to stay up there. And luckily, the cautions came out behind me. And I ended up at first. So I can't thank, again, NASCAR enough. You saw I had a fast pit crew. They were so fast you couldn't even see them changing my tires.
Yeah.
That's how fast they were. And of course I have to thank my wife, Diane, for putting up with me doing all this racing on iRacing. It's just unbelievable experience. The next best thing to racing real cars. Just unbelievable.
Well, congratulations, man. Good showing for you. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do all season. Next week we'll go to Atlanta, so looking forward to the change of pace, and we'll see you next week, man.
Okay, very good. Thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for the broadcast.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Let's see if we can find our second place finisher, Mitchell, mama. Mitchell, second place, man. First race with NAVSCAR, first race of the season. You got to be happy with that, as happy as you can be with second, I guess. But tell us about your race.
Yeah, I was happy with it. The car was tight as usual, and it seemed like the bottom worked pretty well. And halfway through the race, I tried moving up top, and it just seemed like it wouldn't work. I seemed like it kept getting close to the wall, and I just kept sticking the bottom and picking people off one by one. And there at the end, made it 3 wide, which I thought that was the winning move. And it was a close race at the end. Jack got me, I think, by a few feet. But it was a great race. Kept my nose clean. I think I had a 0x race, which is unbelievable at Daytona. And I had a lot of fun. It's my first race in this league, and it's one of the best. So I appreciate everything.
Yeah, I hate seeing these races end under caution like that. We had a couple incidents in the back that kind of just, didn't allow you guys to fight for that victory at the end. Do you think you had something for Jack there at the end?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I thought I knew the guy behind me had some damage, and I'm not sure if they're teammates, but it just seemed like that line didn't get going as well, and I was hoping to at least get a lap in, because I knew the high side was going to have a good run, but I for sure had to move. I would have eventually done if he would have passed me or whatnot.
So just wanted to tell you, you had some fans in the chat room rooting for you, so you might be increasing that fan base after second place finish. But with that being said, a lot of guys were talking about tire wear tonight. At what point did you really see him fall off from your standpoint?
Well, actually, I think in about 8 to 10 laps, it really they started falling off, and actually as the run came on, I felt like I gotten better because I was really managing my tires well. I just realized that you let off early and just let it roll, and then just pick back on it. And I feel like I was moving around easier than some guys. But it was about 8 to 10 laps, and I just want to say thanks to the people that are watching. Some of my friends are watching. I think Tiz, Trevor, Derek, Andrew, maybe Brandon. But I appreciate everybody from Twitter watching. It was fun.
Well, we head to Atlanta next week, and we look forward to seeing what you can do on that track, man.
Yeah, thanks. I like Atlanta, so hopefully I'll be in the top 3 next week too. But thank you everybody.
All right, take care. All right, third place finisher David Howard Jr. Let's pull him down. David, buddy, welcome back. Third place finisher to start the season off at Daytona. I'm sure you would have liked a couple green flag laps there at the end to see what you can do. Look, we saw you working with your teammates all race. I believe you led the most laps of the entire race, so you picked up a couple bonus points as well. Tell us about your race.
Oh man, that was a long race. It was man, we worked it perfectly. Caution happened to come out at the perfect time, put me out front, and man, once I was out there, I felt like I had the best car all night long, and we really got a chance to show it. But unfortunately, man, that last stop, I told my wife sitting here next to me, I said, man, somebody's going to stay out and it's going to bite me. And sure enough, that's what it did.
Yeah, it was real interesting there. Towards the end, you had yourself and you had Sean Butler right behind you. We were talking about the teammates looking to hook up. You had DPM drivers, teams trying to hook up to make a move, and it was some real good racing back there. I do want to let you know, though, David, you were my pick tonight. I was like, you got to keep an eye on this guy. I think he's going to find himself up towards the front at the end of the race. So real great race, and glad to see you have a good night.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jeremy. It's good to hear you pick me again. Last time you picked me, I think I went to Victory Lane here on NAVSCAR TV. So, man, sucks we couldn't do it for you tonight, man.
Well, there's give it time. We're heading to Atlanta next week. A lot of guys are excited about that. It's a different type of track, and we're going to see a little bit more of the driving skill come out, and I think that's where maybe it's more, not to downplay any of the other guys, but I think it's more in your wheelhouse, and I look forward to seeing you out there in Atlanta.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Atlanta is my all-time #1 favorite track, so I love that place, and I'll sure be looking forward to it next week for sure.
Well, I'm sure you'll be hoping to punch your ticket into the chase. That win in your in format is going to mean a lot to some guys, so we look forward to seeing what you can do next week.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty excited. I was giving her all I could get to get that ticket tonight, man. One more green flag lap, I think I could have done it, guys.
I hear you. Anybody want to give a shout out to real quick before we let you go?
Yeah, the good Lord first, and second comes my wife and kid. They're my biggest fans. Also, my mother watches these things. My uncles, Jeff, Terry, my Aunt Shannon, anybody that watches these things supports me, man. I sure appreciate it. All the admins of this deal, and you guys for broadcasting it, man. Thanks for all you guys do. It's a blast.
Appreciate it. And you do know you had some fans in the chat room rooting you on during the race, so they're definitely out there.
Man, that's sure awesome, man. That pumps me up, and it kind of bums me out too, because I wanted to get that win for them, man. I was sure digging.
Well, there's Atlanta next week, so we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jamie and Mike.
Man, what a great first race. It's good to be back. We got a long season ahead with very little breaks. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Heck yeah, especially if you got the field like we had tonight. You know, last season was a little bit different. We had rookies that joined, and we actually said at the time that was our best rookie class that we've had up to this point. I think we're going to see a whole shift, a whole change in paradigm here. I think the bar has been set right out of the gate by some of our rookie drivers, from Jack, from Mitch, you know, some of these other guys. Dan Bieglin, huge showing tonight. I was like, where'd this guy come from? So, you know, yeah, I'm super psyched about these races coming up. Love to see these full fields, some great driving out there, and look forward to it.
Awesome. Just a reminder, our viewers, we'll be back next Wednesday. We are going to Atlanta, so you know, we thank you for watching, and we hope you check us again next week.